The mining planet Krill 7 was a lonely place. Cold winds screamed through the steel corridors, carrying the sound of emptiness. The stars above were bright but distant, shining over a land of endless ice and metal. No trees, no birds, no voices, only silence and machines. And in the middle of that silence lived Ethan Cole, a human engineer who had been stationed there for almost 2 years. Every morning he woke to the same alarm tone, the same flickering lights and the same gray walls. His world had become small, just a room, a tool bench, and the steady hum of machines that kept him company. His only friends were the mining drones, lifeless but reliable. They did their work without complaint, without emotion. Just like him, Ethan wasn't supposed to stay that long. His original mission was 6 months, repairing reactors, maintaining systems, and making sure the Union mining outpost didn't collapse under the frozen storms. But the next team never came. Communications were cut. Supply ships were delayed. And slowly he became the only human left on Krill 7. At first he kept counting the days. Then he stopped. The days blurred into one another. Work, eat, check oxygen levels, repair broken bots, and sleep. The silence began to grow heavy. Sometimes he would talk to himself, pretending someone could hear. Other times he would play old recordings of Earth City's laughter, traffic, music, sounds of life that felt like memories of another world. Ethan often looked at the small hollow photo on his desk. It showed his family back on Earth, his sister smiling, his parents standing behind her. They were proud when he left, calling him a hero for joining the Union frontier missions. But heroes, he thought, should have someone waiting for them when they return. He wasn't sure anyone even remembered he was still out here. At night, he would sit by the narrow window of the outpost. Beyond it stretched endless white, an ocean of frozen plains. Sometimes, during clear nights, he could see faint blue lights far away under the ice. The sensors had picked them up before, but the Union classified them as natural energy patterns. Ethan wasn't so sure. They looked alive. The nights were the hardest. The temperature dropped so low that the heating system struggled to keep up. He would wrap himself in 2 layers of thermal blankets and still feel the cold biting at his fingers. The sound of the wind outside made the base creak and moan like a living thing. He tried to distract himself with work. When the main reactor started showing fluctuations, he spent days fixing it. The reactor's power core was ancient, half buried beneath ice and alien minerals. He'd once risked his life crawling through frozen tunnels to reach it. There were carvings there, strange symbols etched into the walls before the base was even built. He never told the Union about those carvings. Something about them felt sacred. He didn't want a team of scientists coming to dig it up and ruin whatever mystery it held. One night, after a long day of repairs, Ethan felt exhaustion hit him hard. He finished logging his daily report, though he knew no one would read it, and walked to his small sleeping pod. The lights dimmed to a soft amber glow as the outpost shifted to night mode. He sat on the edge of the bed for a moment, staring at the floor. His thoughts wandered about Earth, about the stars, about whether he'd ever hear another voice again. Then he lay down, pulling the blanket over himself. The room was silent except for the quiet hum of the base's oxygen filters. His eyes grew heavy, his mind floating between sleep and awareness. For once he felt peaceful. Outside, the storm had stopped. The wind fell still and the snow-covered plains glittered under the light of 2 distant moons. Deep beneath the ice, something stirred. A soft pulse of blue light moved slowly, rising upward, toward the surface, toward the outpost. Inside the base, a faint sound echoed through the metal corridors. The door locks disengaged with a soft click. The air shimmered faintly as if touched by something unseen. Ethan, half asleep, didn't hear it. A soft blue glow filled the room. The light moved gently like water reflecting stars. Then from the shadows, a figure stepped forward. She was tall and graceful, with skin that shimmered silver blue and hair that seemed to float like threads of light. Her eyes glowed softly, reflecting curiosity and something deeper, something human. She stood beside the sleeping man for a long time, studying his face. The human engineer who had saved her people without even knowing it. Her voice was barely a whisper. "So this is the one," she said. "The one who gave us life again." She hesitated, then touched his cheek softly, feeling warmth for the first time in her life. Her expression softened and a faint smile curved her lips. "I am here," she whispered, "as your reward." And as the human slept peacefully, unaware of the miracle beside him, The cold world of Krill 7 began to change forever. Ethan woke slowly, drifting between dream and reality. For a moment he thought he was back on Earth, lying under warm sunlight hearing soft music from a window, but when he opened his eyes the light was blue, not golden. The air was colder and the hum of machines replaced the sound of music. He blinked, confused. Something felt different. The room wasn't the same. The air shimmered faintly like heat above a fire, even though it was freezing cold. Then he saw her. Standing near the edge of his bed was a figure he couldn't understand at first. Her form glowed gently, silver blue, her hair floating softly as though underwater. Her eyes, bright and alive, watched him with curiosity and a strange tenderness. For a moment, Ethan forgot how to breathe. His heart began to pound. He sat up quickly, his hand reaching instinctively for the small plasma tool beside his bed. But his fingers froze mid-air. She didn't move. She didn't threaten. She only looked at him as if she'd been waiting for him to wake for a very long time. "Who are you?" Ethan whispered, his voice dry and shaking. "How did you get in here?" The alien girl tilted her head slightly. When she spoke, her voice was soft like wind moving through glass. "Please. Do not be afraid." Her words were broken but understandable, English spoken with care. "My name is Lyra." Ethan stared, his mind trying to make sense of what he was seeing. You're not human," he said quietly. She smiled faintly. "No, I am of the Varelian kind. We live beneath the ice plains, far below your base." He blinked. "That's not possible. The Union said there's no intelligent life on Krill 7. Lyra's expression grew sad, almost amused. "The Union does not see what it does not want to see." Ethan's pulse began to calm, though his mind still raced. "Why are you here?" he asked. "If your people are real, you shouldn't risk coming here." "The security drones." She stepped closer, the glow of her body lighting his face. "I know, but I had to come." Her voice trembled slightly as if her courage was fading. "You saved us," he frowned. "Saved you?" "Yes," she said softly. "Months ago, there was a fire in the energy chamber beneath the ice. The reactor was breaking. My people could not stop it. We were afraid the explosion would destroy our city. But then, your repair drones came. You fixed the surface reactor above it. You stabilized the energy flow. You did not know it. But your work saved us all." Ethan blinked, his memory flashing back to the long, freezing night he had spent crawling through cracked tunnels to repair the base's lower reactor. He remembered the strange humming sounds he had heard back then, echoes that didn't sound mechanical. "That was you?" he said softly. Lyra nodded. "Your machines brought back the warmth. Our lights stopped fading. Our air became safe again." Ethan sat silently, trying to process it. "I was just doing my job," he muttered. "In your world, maybe," she said gently. "But in ours, you saved lives. And for that, I was chosen to bring you something in return." Her eyes shimmered as she spoke the next words, full of quiet emotion. "I am here as your reward." Ethan's throat tightened. "Reward? I don't understand." "In our culture," she explained softly, "life given must be honored. You gave us life, so I must give you something of equal value. My time, my presence, my bond." Ethan felt his heartbeat slow. He didn't know what to say. There was something in her voice, something innocent, almost sacred. He shook his head. "Lyra, I don't need anything from you. You should go back before someone sees you." Her expression didn't change. She looked at him as if she had expected that answer. "You may not need me," she said, "but you are alone. Even the stars above can see your loneliness." Her words pierced through him like a quiet truth. He had spent so long pretending he was fine, that the silence didn't hurt, that the endless cold didn't matter. But now, with someone standing in front of him, someone who saw him, he realized how deeply he missed being seen. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The blue light between them shimmered softly, wrapping the small room in a strange kind of warmth. Finally, Ethan sighed. "If you're really here to thank me," he said quietly, "then stay. Just for a while. Talk to me." Lyra smiled for the first time, a soft, glowing smile that made the room feel alive. She sat beside his bed, her movements graceful, almost weightless. They talked until the power lights dimmed and the base's systems shifted into sleep mode. Ethan told her about Earth, about oceans and trees and the sound of rain. She listened with wide eyes, like a child hearing a story for the first time. When he grew tired, she placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Rest," she said softly. "You have done much already." Her touch was cool yet comforting. Ethan felt his eyes grow heavy again. As he drifted back to sleep, he saw her still sitting there, glowing faintly in the dark. Outside, the frozen wind began to move again, whispering softly across the plains, like the world itself had begun to breathe once more. When Ethan woke the next morning, for a moment he wondered if everything had been a dream. The blue light, the soft voice, the alien girl, it all seemed too unreal for the cold metal life he lived. But then on his table, he saw something small and strange. A crystal. It glowed faintly with silver light, shaped like a teardrop. It hadn't been there before. He picked it up carefully. It was warm to the touch, alive somehow, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. And in that moment, he knew it wasn't a dream. Lyra had been real. Ethan looked around the room. The air felt different, lighter. The silence didn't feel as heavy as before. For the first time in months, he smiled a little. That day, he went back to his work, checking the surface drones, repairing the oxygen processors, and logging his reports. But his thoughts kept wandering back to her. Her silver blue glow, the kindness in her eyes, the way she spoke his name like it mattered. He found himself listening to the quiet more carefully, hoping to hear her voice again. And that night, she returned. The door opened silently, the air shimmering just like before. Ethan turned, expecting her this time. Lyra stood there, carrying a small metal container filled with something that looked like blue fruit. "I brought this," she said softly. "It grows under the ice. We call it viran. It keeps warmth inside." Ethan blinked, surprised. "You brought me food?" She nodded with a shy smile. "You give us life. I bring you warmth." He took one of the fruits cautiously and bit into it. It tasted sweet, like honey mixed with something cold and electric. The warmth spread through his chest, easing the constant chill he had gotten used to. "Wow," he said with a laugh. "This is incredible." Her face brightened at his reaction, her eyes shimmering like starlight. "Then I am glad." They talked again, just like before. She was curious about everything, about humans, about Earth, about simple things like laughter, dreams, and rain. When he described rain, how it felt to stand under clouds and let the water fall on your skin, she closed her eyes and whispered, "It sounds like a sky breathing." Ethan chuckled softly. Yeah, that's one way to say it. He noticed something different about her that night. She wasn't just a strange visitor anymore. She was real, alive. Someone he could talk to, not just imagine. As days passed, her visits became more frequent. Every few nights when the storms quieted, she appeared, sometimes bringing glowing stones from her world, sometimes bringing stories of the cities beneath the ice. Ethan learned that her people had once lived in harmony with the planet's energy. But after the Union began mining, the balance broke. Their world dimmed, their power faded. The repair he made to the reactor had unknowingly restored that balance. When she spoke of her people, her voice always carried both pride and sorrow. "We do not hate humans," she said once, "but we fear you. You take so much from the stars, and you forget that the stars can feel." Her words stayed with Ethan. For the first time, he felt the weight of what the Union had done, not just to the planet, but to lives hidden beneath it. One evening, he showed her a small hologram of the ocean. The gentle waves shimmered on the wall, reflecting soft light. Lyra stared at it with wide eyes. "It moves like home," she whispered. "Our rivers used to glow like this, before the cold came." Without thinking, Ethan said, "Then maybe I'll help fix them someday too." She looked at him for a long time, as if seeing something in him she couldn't explain. "You would do that?" He smiled quietly. "If I can." A silence followed, gentle, not empty. And for the first time since he arrived on Krill 7, Ethan didn't feel alone. As the hours passed, Lyra's glow began to fade slightly. She stood up, preparing to leave. "The air above grows thin for me," she said softly. "I must return below before it harms me." Ethan stood too, hesitant. "Will you come back?" Lyra smiled, her light flickering softly. "If the winds are kind." Then she stepped closer, her hand brushing against his chest, right above his heart. The touch was light as snow, but it carried warmth that lingered. "You keep this place alive," she whispered. "And now, you keep me alive too." Before he could answer, Her form dissolved into shimmering blue particles that drifted out through the sealed door, vanishing into the night. Ethan stood there for a long time after she was gone, the glow of her presence still floating in his mind. He looked at the crystal she had left behind, still pulsing with a soft heartbeat light. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't dread the silence of night, because now he knew he wasn't alone in it anymore. Days turned into weeks and Ethan's life slowly changed. The silence that once haunted him no longer felt empty. Every night when the storm softened, he found himself looking toward the door, waiting for the faint shimmer of blue light that meant Lyra had returned, and she always did. Sometimes she came laughing softly, bringing glowing shells from the under-ice rivers. Other times she came quietly, just to sit beside him while he worked. She would watch his hands as he repaired machines, her glowing eyes full of curiosity and wonder. "You fix things," she said once, tracing her fingers over a dismantled drone. "You make broken things whole again." Ethan smiled faintly. "That's what engineers do." Lyra tilted her head. "Then you are more than an engineer, Ethan. You fix more than machines." Her words lingered in his mind. He didn't know what she meant exactly, but deep inside he understood. Since she came into his life, something broken in him had started to heal too. Each night they shared stories. Ethan spoke about Earth, the oceans that stretched forever, the scent of rain after summer storms, the colors of sunsets that painted the sky. Lyra listened like every word was a treasure. In return, she told him about the Varelians, their shimmering cities beneath the ice powered by light and music, the crystal gardens that glowed when they sang, and how they once danced under rivers of liquid light before the Union came and took the planet's energy for mining. "Your people take the life of this world," she said softly one night. "And yet, you give it back without knowing." He looked down, feeling guilt he couldn't hide. "If I could change it, I would," she smiled gently. "You already did, Ethan. You brought warmth where there was none. To my people, and to me." For a moment, silence filled the room again, but it wasn't the cold silence of loneliness. It was soft and full, like the quiet between two heartbeats. One night, Lyra arrived with a small carved crystal in her hands. It was shaped like a human figure, rough but detailed. It looked like him. Ethan stared at it, surprised. "You made this?" Lyra nodded, shy but proud. "So I will not forget your shape when I return to my people." He felt warmth rise in his chest. "You don't need to make a copy," he said with a small smile. "You can always come back." Her eyes softened. "I will, as long as the air above allows it." That night they sat close together, watching the stars through the small window. The double moon shone over the frozen plains, bathing everything in silver light. The quiet hum of the bass seemed like a lullaby, but far away beneath that calm surface something dark was stirring. A warning light blinked on one of the base monitors. "Unauthorized energy spikes. Unknown source." Ethan ignored it at first, assuming it was another system glitch. But the readings kept returning, stronger each night, and then one evening, a message came through from the Union Command. "Engineer Cole, our systems have detected unusual power surges near your station. Possible alien interference. Report immediately if you encounter any life forms." Ethan felt his stomach twist. If they discovered Lyra, they'd capture her. They'd study her, maybe even destroy her people. He couldn't let that happen. That night, when she appeared again, he didn't smile like before. "Lyra," he said quietly, "you shouldn't come anymore. The Union knows something's happening. They'll find out about you." She looked at him in silence. "You want me to leave?" He hesitated. "I don't want to," he admitted, "but I can't risk them finding you. They'll hurt you." For a long moment she said nothing. Her light dimmed slightly, the soft glow of her skin fading to pale silver. "Humans fear what they do not understand," she whispered. "But I'm not afraid of you, Ethan." He swallowed hard, his chest heavy. "I don't want you to get hurt because of me." Lyra stepped closer, her eyes meeting his. "You forget," she said softly. "I came here for you. You are my purpose, my bond." He shook his head. "You don't owe me anything." "I do not come because I owe," she replied. "I come because I want to." Ethan couldn't look away. Her voice trembled, but her words were steady, honest. "I waited all my life under ice and shadow," she continued, "never knowing what warmth was. Then you fixed the light. You gave us life again. And when I saw you, I understood something my people never taught me. He whispered. What's that? That the heart does not belong to a world, she said softly. It belongs to a person. The words hit him like a slow wave. He had spent so long trying not to feel, keeping himself numb in the emptiness of space. But now, with Lyra standing before him, her glow reflecting in his eyes, he realized something deep, something he didn't dare speak aloud. He wasn't just protecting her anymore. He was feeling for her. Lyra reached out her hand, touching his cheek lightly. Do not fear the Union, she whispered. They will not find me. I am of light and shadow. I know how to hide. Then she smiled faintly. But I will always find you. Ethan didn't answer. He just nodded, unable to speak. When she left that night, the outpost felt colder than usual. He sat by the window long after she was gone, staring at the twin moons and wondering how something so impossible could feel so real. And for the first time, Ethan Cole, lonely human engineer, forgotten by the Union, realized that his heart had already crossed the line between two worlds. After that night, Ethan tried to act normal. He followed his daily routine, checking drones, fixing power lines, running diagnostics, but his mind wasn't in his work anymore. Every time the communication screen flickered, he expected a message from the Union. Every shadow, every sensor blink made him fear they'd found out. Yet every night, when the sky turned pale blue under the twin moons, he still waited for her. And she came. No matter what he said, no matter how much he warned her, Lyra always returned. I told you it's dangerous, Ethan said quietly one night. As she appeared again, her soft glow filling the small room, Lyra smiled faintly. Danger is everywhere, but here I feel safe, he sighed. You shouldn't risk your life just to see me. I do not risk, she said, sitting beside him. I live, her words silenced him. There was something in the way she said them, simple, honest, and full of meaning. That night, the power systems flickered again. The base lights dimmed and then steadied. Ethan frowned. The sensors are reading energy surges again. Every time you visit, something reacts in the systems. Lyra looked guilty for a moment. I try to hide it, but the machines of your kind do not like my presence. They feel my energy. Ethan leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. If they track it back here, they will come? She asked softly. He nodded. They'll think you're a threat. The Union doesn't believe in peaceful contact. They'll capture you, study you. Before he could finish, Lyra reached forward and placed her hand on his. The glow of her skin spread across his fingers, a soft warmth that calmed the shaking in his chest. Then I will make sure they never find me, she whispered. Do not fear for me. Her voice carried such quiet strength that for a moment Ethan believed her. But deep down, fear never left his heart. Over the next few days, their bond grew stronger. Lyra began to teach him small things, how to read the glowing symbols she carved on crystals, how to listen to the planet's energy through vibration. She showed him that Krill 7 wasn't dead at all. The ice, the storms, even the silence, it was all alive, breathing slowly beneath the surface. Your people take from the planet, she said one night, but you never listened to it. He listened now. Because when Lyra spoke, her voice carried a truth no data file could show. And without realizing when it began, Ethan started to fall for her. It wasn't just her beauty, it was her gentleness, her curiosity, the way she looked at him like he mattered. No one had looked at him like that in years, but the universe doesn't let miracles last forever. One cold morning, a message came through his comm link. Engineer Cole, this is Union Command. We have detected consistent unauthorized power activity within your sector. Prepare for inspection. Arrival in 72 hours. Ethan felt his blood run cold. They were coming. That night, when Lyra appeared again, he didn't greet her with a smile. He stood up quickly, fear in his eyes. They're coming, Lyra. The Union is sending a team here. You can't come back again, ever. Lyra froze. The light around her flickered softly. You wish me to stay away? He shook his head, pain tightening his chest. I wish I didn't have to. But if they see you, they'll take you. Please, Lyra, you have to hide. Promise me. She looked down, her glowing hair falling over her face. You humans, you always choose fear. Because I care, he said louder than he meant to. Because I can't lose you. Her eyes widened. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then she stepped closer until their faces were only inches apart. Her hand lifted, touching his cheek. You already have me, she whispered. Even if I am gone, I will stay here. She pressed her glowing hand against his chest right over his heart. He could barely breathe. Lyra, I was born of light, she said softly. But now I carry something human inside me. Something that belongs to you. Tears burned his eyes. I don't want to lose that. She smiled faintly, sadness hiding behind it. You cannot lose what has already become part of you. Then she leaned forward, pressing her forehead against his. The warmth between them was gentle and alive, like a quiet fire burning in the dark. I will come when it is safe, she whispered. But if not, remember the light. And before Ethan could speak again, her body dissolved into thousands of tiny silver sparks that drifted upward, fading through the ceiling like falling stars. The room turned dark once more. Ethan stood alone, his breath trembling. The silence of the outpost returned, but this time it was unbearable. He touched the spot on his chest where her hand had been, feeling the faintest warmth still there. Outside, the first signs of the inspection ship appeared in the sky. A streak of white cutting across the frozen horizon. Ethan stared at it with dread. He knew what they'd come for, and he knew he would never let them take her. 3 days later, the Union ship arrived. Ethan heard the engines before he saw it. A deep metallic roar rolling over the icy plains. The outpost scanners lit up with Union signals, and within minutes a sleek gray craft settled near his base. The moment it touched down, the silence of Krill 7 shattered. 4 soldiers in white armor stepped out, their weapons glowing faintly blue in the cold air. Behind them came Commander Jalen, a tall man with sharp eyes and a cold, perfect uniform. Ethan had worked under him before. He knew that man's smile never reached his eyes. Engineer Cole, Jalen said with a thin smirk, stepping inside. We've detected strange energy signatures from your station. You've been busy. Ethan tried to stay calm. Probably a sensor malfunction, Commander. The storms interfere with readings all the time. Jalen's eyes narrowed. Don't play me for a fool. The readings are consistent. Alien frequencies. Level 7 radiation signatures. Someone or something is here. Ethan forced himself to look confused. You think aliens are hiding in my outpost? Sir, that's impossible. This planet's lifeless, but his heart was racing. Because somewhere hidden beneath the ice or beyond the scanners, Lyra was out there, and she would sense the danger. Jalen walked slowly around the room, scanning every surface with his wrist device. We'll see about that. Until then, you're under surveillance. Any movement outside the perimeter without permission and I'll have you detained. Ethan nodded tightly. Understood. That night the storm came. The wind howled like a living thing, and the temperature dropped until the metal walls began to groan. Jalen's team stayed inside, monitoring their instruments, cursing the interference. But Ethan couldn't sleep. He stood by the window, staring out at the storm. He wanted to believe Lyra had listened, that she was far away and safe. But something in his chest told him otherwise. Then, through the thick snow and lightning flashes, he saw it. A faint shimmer of silver light moving toward the base. Lyra, he whispered in horror. He ran to the airlock. The alarms blared as he opened the outer gate. Freezing wind slammed into him, biting through his suit. He stepped out, shielding his eyes, and there she was. Lyra stood in the storm, her glow flickering like a candle in the wind. Why are you here? He shouted over the storm. They're inside. They'll see you. I felt your fear, she said softly, her voice almost lost in the roar. You called me even if you did not speak. I came, he grabbed her hands, desperate. You have to go. Please, Lyra, they'll kill you. But before she could answer, a bright light cut through the snow, a Union search beam. It landed directly on them. Contact, a soldier shouted. Energy reading confirmed. Target in sight. Ethan turned. No, wait. Don't shoot! A shot rang out. Blue plasma hissed past, exploding in the snow near Lyra's feet. She cried out, stumbling as the light around her flickered weakly. Ethan pulled her close, shielding her with his body. Stop! She's not hostile, he screamed. Jalen's voice came through the comms, cold and commanding. Stand down, Cole. Step away from the creature. She's not a creature, Ethan roared back. She's alive. She's someone. But the soldiers kept moving closer, weapons aimed. Lyra's glow dimmed, her body trembled. They will not stop, she whispered. They fear what they cannot understand. Ethan turned toward her, his eyes wet. Then help me make them understand. Please, Lyra, don't give up. Her gaze softened. There is another way. Before he could ask what she meant, she stepped away from him, raising her glowing hands toward the sky. The storm responded instantly. The lightning curved, swirling into a giant spiral of blue and silver light. The Union soldiers froze, staring in awe. "What is she doing?" Jalen muttered. "She's protecting us," Ethan said softly. Lyra closed her eyes. "Go inside," she whispered to Ethan. "Now." He shook his head. "I'm not leaving you." "You must," she said, turning her head slightly. "If I stay near, they will destroy everything. The storm is my shield, and my goodbye." "No, Lyra, please." But before he could move, a massive bolt of lightning struck the ground between them, blinding him. When the light faded, she was gone. Only the faint silver dust in the air remained, glowing briefly before vanishing into the wind. The storm died as suddenly as it had begun. The scanners went silent. The energy readings disappeared. Lyra was gone. Jalen lowered his weapon, staring at the now quiet sky. "Well," he said, almost impressed. "Whatever it was, it's gone now." Ethan said nothing. He turned his face away, hiding the tears that froze against his cheeks. Back inside, the Union team packed up, satisfied that the anomaly had been neutralized. But Ethan sat alone in his quarters, staring at the empty spot beside him where she used to stand. The glow of her touch was gone. The warmth was fading. Yet, deep inside his chest, he still felt it, a tiny pulse of light. He placed a hand over his heart and whispered, "You kept your promise, Lyra. You're still here." Outside, the storm clouds drifted away, revealing the twin moons shining above the frozen world. And for just a second, barely visible, one of the moons shimmered with a faint silver glow. Ethan smiled through his tears. He knew she was watching. And he whispered to the cold night, "I'll wait, however long it takes." Months passed on Krill 7, and the outpost slowly returned to its quiet routine. The Union team had left, satisfied that the anomaly was gone, and Ethan continued his work repairing drones, checking systems, and monitoring the frozen plains. But the world felt emptier than before. The glow that had filled his nights was gone. The silver-blue light of Lyra no longer shimmered beside him. The crystal she had left, the one he kept carefully on his desk, was the only reminder that she had ever been real. At first, he tried to pretend it didn't matter. He buried himself in reports, maintenance, and routine. He told himself that the isolation was nothing new. After all, he was alone by choice, an engineer on the edge of the frontier. But every night, when he looked out at the twin moons, he felt the emptiness of the frozen world like a weight pressing against his chest. One evening, while scanning the ice plains, he noticed a faint shimmer on the horizon, just at the edge of his sensors. His heart skipped. Could it be? He ran to the observation deck. The wind howled, the snow swirled, but there it was. A faint silver glow rising slowly from the ice. "Lyra?" he whispered, disbelief in his voice. The glow grew brighter, and then he saw her form, radiant and trembling slightly with energy. She floated toward him, her presence warming the room despite the cold outside. "Ethan," she said softly. I returned." Tears filled his eyes. "I thought I'd lost you forever. I thought—" "I had to leave," she interrupted gently. "It was the only way to protect you, to protect my people." He took a step forward, reaching for her. "You don't understand. I don't care about them. I don't care about the Union. I only care about you." Her glow flickered. "And yet, your world is fragile. I could not stay without risking everything." Ethan shook his head, a small smile forming despite the years of pain. "I don't care about fragile worlds. I care about what matters. That's you." They stood in silence, the storm outside gone, leaving only the gentle hum of the bass and the soft silver-blue light around her. "I've learned something," Lyra whispered, stepping closer. "About humans. About your hearts. Even when you are alone, Even when your world seems empty, you can give life. You can give warmth. And even when everything is gone, your hope never dies. Ethan swallowed hard. I thought I was just a simple engineer. Nothing more. But you showed me that what we do matters. That we matter. Lyra smiled, her glow flickering brighter. You saved my people once, and you saved me every night you let me sit beside you even if you didn't know it. He reached for her hands. They were warm, even though her skin shimmered like ice. I've waited for this moment, he whispered, even if it takes the rest of my life. She tilted her head, eyes shining. And now, it does not have to take forever. We are together. Ethan felt a weight lift from his chest, the loneliness, the cold, the endless silence. For the first time in years, he felt complete. Forever? He asked softly, almost afraid to speak it aloud. Lyra nodded. Forever, Ethan. As long as your heart beats, I will be with you. I am yours. And in that moment, the years of pain, the months of waiting, and the endless nights alone all melted away. Ethan pulled her close, feeling the warmth of life that no machine, no planet, and no storm could ever take away. Her light wrapped around him, a protective shield and a promise that nothing, not distance, not time, not fear, could ever break. I thought I was alone, he said, resting his forehead against hers. But you made me whole. Lyra's glow pulsed softly, and you made me feel alive. That is the gift you gave me. They stayed there for hours, holding each other as the twin moons shone over the frozen plains. For the first time, Krill 7 didn't feel cold. The air felt alive with warmth, hope, and life. Ethan looked up at her face, glowing softly in the dim light. I'll never let them take you, he promised. And I will never leave you, she replied. Even if I must hide in shadows, even if I must shine alone, my heart is yours. He smiled through tears. Then my reward has always been you. The storm of the past, the fear, the separation, the darkness, was gone. Only light remained. Silver blue, eternal, and alive. Outside, the world was frozen, silent, and empty. But inside that small outpost, warmth flowed like rivers of light, and two hearts, human and Varelian, beat together, stronger than any union, stronger than any storm, stronger than the endless cold. And for the first time, Ethan knew the truth of what she had said so long ago. The heart does not belong to a world. It belongs to a person, and he had hers.